In this video, I'm going to be ranking the 6 things that caused my acne, completely ruining my skin, turning it from this to this. But once I stopped doing these things, I started to see improvements in my skin in as little as 8 weeks. So if you have acne and you're not sure what's causing it, I can guarantee you that you're doing one or maybe even all of these things. And by the way, the higher up on this list it goes, the more acne it's going to give you. Now, the first thing is going to be washing your face too much. I was working with someone trying to help them get rid of their acne, and one of the big blind spots that they didn't see, which I did, was the fact that he was washing his face way too much. As soon as we cut this down, he was saying that his pimples were essentially disappearing like magic. The way I saw this blind spot was he was going over his morning routine, his whole day routine, what he did. And it would be, wake up in the morning, shower, all right, that's normal, wash your face, go to school, come back from school, shower again, go to a Muay Thai, shower after Muay Thai, and then go home and then shower at night. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We are showering 4 times a day. If his routine called for him to shower 4 times a day, then that's what we have to do. We have to work around it. So I actually gave him a tip that helped him out a lot when it came to making sure that he wasn't over washing his face in the shower. And what that was is when he would have a shower, first of all, he wouldn't scrub his face because it would irritate it. But on top of that, what he would do is he'd wash his whole body and then kind of put a visor around his head like this. That way that the water doesn't actually go on his face, so he can wash everything without having water hit his face. So overall, minimizing the amount that you're going to wash your face is going to significantly help with your skin being dried out, which is going to cause an increase in sebum production, which is why you sometimes have oily skin, and that's also what causes acne. So for that reason, I'm going to put this one at B tier. Now for this second thing, you've probably been told this a million times before. However, I want to actually give you a tip to be able to stop doing this. And what I'm talking about is touching your face. We all know touching your face is bad, but once I give you this tip, which I already gave to someone else who saw an instant improvement in their skin, you'll no longer have the need to touch your face because you'll replace it with something else that's way better. Because I know exactly how you feel. I used to do it all the time. I would get a whitehead and then I'd start touching it to kind of verify how big it is and be like, oh, is it big? Oh God, are people gonna notice? And then you start playing with it because now you're in your head and you're all anxious. And then days go on and it's still there and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden you've had this whitehead for like 5 days. But once you stop touching your face and replace it with this other thing, then these pimples go away in like 2 days. And the method I'm talking about is using your shirt instead of using your finger. And what I mean by that is, of course, you're going to have the desire to touch your face because it gets itchy sometimes. It's normal. But instead of going like this and rubbing it or picking at it, just like, let's say I have an itchy spot on my face right here. Instead of touching it, I'm going to do this. That's it. I grab my shirt, which has significantly less dirt on it than my fingertips, and all I'm doing is just dabbing it. I'm not rubbing it. I'm not going in circles. I'm not being aggressive. I'm literally just touching it to make the itchiness go away. That works 100% of the time. And if you start doing that, you'll start to realize that you no longer need to touch your face, and at the same time, you're solving your itchy skin issue. And because this tip is so powerful and it works so well, I'm going to put this one at A tier. Now, the third thing people are going to hate me for, but trust me, when you hear my story, you're going to want to cut this out too. I remember when I'd wake up, I'd go to the bathroom and, like when you look in the mirror after you wake up, your skin is not very inflamed. It's pretty calm. It's pretty mellow. It looks actually pretty good. And then the first thing I do is my skincare routine. And so I'd put on I'd get my face wet. I'd put on my cleanser. I might exfoliate if it was one of those days. And then I'd do my topical and then my moisturizer. And then I'd look in the mirror and my skin was bright red. I went from this tame, calm skin from waking up to this bright red inflamed face. And it was always such a shame. It was like I'm doing this skincare, but it just makes my face look so inflamed. And then I explained it to one of my friends, and he asked me, why are you doing something to your face that makes it more irritated? And at first, my ego got in the way. I'm like, no, 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 but it's skincare. It's good for your skin. You have to do it. And then I realized, fuck, he's got a point. Why don't I just wake up and splash water on my face instead? Why do I have to put all these products on it that just irritate it? And that's why, for the past 6 weeks, I completely cut out my skincare. I don't use a cleanser. I don't use an exfoliant. I don't use a topical. I don't use sunscreen yet because it's still March, but at probably some point I'm going to start using sunscreen. But I don't use a moisturizer. I don't use anything. And all I'm using is cold water and then patting my face dry with a towel. And this face you see right now, sure, it's not perfect, but for someone who doesn't use skincare, you wouldn't even imagine that I don't use a moisturizer. My face isn't peeling, it's not cracking, because my skin has naturally regenerated its own barrier. So I highly recommend you do the same. And for that reason, I'm going to put it at B tier. The reason why I'm not putting it at A is because if you're watching this video and you have clear skin and you're using skincare products, good on you. There's no problem with that. You're watching this video because you either want to avoid getting acne or you have acne and you want to get rid of it. All I'm providing you is a solution that's worked for me. And if something else works for you, then that's fine. But when I was in your position, I was trying everything. I was using skincare and it wasn't working. So that's why I cut it out. So the next thing is something that if you look this up on Reddit with does cutting this out, remove your acne, you're going to find tons and tons of people that are talking about their experience, as well as scientific studies. Now, what I'm talking about is dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt. Oh my God, these things are so bad for your skin. It's insane. And there's even scientific studies on that. This one we have open right here. They did a study on like 70,000 people, and they found that the intake of any dairy products, any milk, full fat dairy, whole milk, low fat, skim milk, yogurt, anything like that, were at a higher odds ratio for acne compared to no intake within individuals aged 7 to 30. This means that if you're eating yogurt, dairy, cheese, anything like that, especially daily, it's going to significantly increase the amount of acne you get. And it's one of the exact things that I cut out for my 16-week transformation, which I'm currently on week 9 with, and it's definitely had significant improvements, especially nowadays with how easy it is to get your hands on non-dairy products. So for that reason, I'm going to put it at S tier. So this next thing is just as responsible for acne as dairy is. It triggers two main things that causes your acne. It triggers sebum production, which, as I said earlier, it's what creates oil on your skin, which is either why you have very oily skin or why you have a lot of acne. Is probably due to this. And it also triggers inflammation. And when your body has inflammation, it has no other place to push it out but your skin. And that's why you have such an uneven skin tone, and on top of that, a lot of acne. And what I'm talking about is added sugar. Now, in this article, they did a study and they found that 2,258 patients on a low glycemic diet, which is essentially a low sugar diet, had 87% of them say that they had less acne by the end of the study. And 91% of them said that they needed less acne medication. So this comes back exactly to what I was talking about with the skincare. You start cutting out the dairy, you cut out the added sugar, and the final thing I'm going to talk about after this, and all of a sudden, you don't need these expensive skincare routines. You can just use fucking water. For that reason, I'm going to put it at S tier, because it's a really tough thing to cut out, but the results are insane. And so the sixth and final thing that you need to cut out if you want to get rid of your acne is refined carbs. A refined carb is anything like white rice, pasta, bread, donuts, obviously, pizza, the things that are highly processed carbohydrates, not natural, like sweet potato or brown rice. And so in this article, I found out that essentially the effect that added sugar has on your body, refined carbs is the same thing. Refined carbs are high on the glycemic index, which means when you eat them, it spikes your insulin, increases sebum production, and then also increases inflammation. So for that reason, I'm also going to put it as at S tier. So you're probably looking at this tier list and you're thinking, well, the 3 biggest factors for why I have acne are all food related. What am I going to eat? And that's where I've got you covered. If you click the link in the description, you can join my free school community, and in there, you'll get access to my recipe book, which has all the recipes I'm currently using to reverse the damage on my skin. They're easy, they're cheap, they're really goddamn tasty. So join the community, and I'll see you inside.